He was once known as the rebellious prince with a love for the wild side, a man who spent his youth racing fast cars and navigating his way through Copenhagen's nightlife, raising eyebrows and breaking the mold of what a future monarch was supposed to be. But today, King Frederik X of Denmark stands tall as a respected monarch, a man of duty, dignity, and surprising calm. So what changed? What force transformed the playboy prince into the steady king of a nation? Whispers from within palace walls and among the international press point not just to his own internal growth but to a powerful and constant presence by his side, Queen Mary. The elegant, composed, and universally admired Australian-born royal consort who may, in truth, be the real architect behind the refined image the world now sees. Queen Mary of Denmark, born Mary Donaldson, didn't enter the royal world through tradition. She wasn't born into privilege or raised within the confines of palatial decorum. She was a commoner, a marketing executive from Tasmania, who met her prince in a Sydney bar during the 2000 Olympics. But what began as a chance encounter evolved into one of Europe's most admired royal unions, a relationship that many believe is far more than just a fairy tale. It is, some argue, a political partnership, a strategic alliance, and a personal bond that has profoundly shaped Frederik's trajectory from prince to king. To truly understand King Frederik's popularity and his hold on public affection, we must first trace the steps of a man who seemed destined to stumble. His youth was marked by pressure, internal conflict, and an apparent search for identity. As the son of the iconic Queen Margrethe II, a monarch whose wisdom and artistic flair earned her national and global admiration, Frederik often appeared overshadowed. With a father, Prince Henrik, who openly expressed discontent about his own role as consort, the young Frederik found himself caught in the crosscurrents of royal tradition and personal yearning. There were moments when his discomfort with royal expectations was palpable, manifesting in his reluctance to take on responsibilities and his visible awkwardness in the public eye. Frederik's early life was not only shaped by his royal parents' contrasting personas but also by Denmark's increasingly modern expectations for royalty. The Danish people wanted transparency, warmth, relatability, and for years, Frederik seemed unsure of how to provide it. His bachelor years were a carousel of relationships, some discreet and others less so, each dissected by the tabloid press with near-frenzied curiosity. Yet through it all, the Danish press remained surprisingly kind, often framing Frederik as a young man navigating the world on his own terms. Enter Mary Donaldson. The moment she stepped into Frederik's life, a visible shift began. It wasn't instantaneous, but gradual and steady. Those close to the royal household began to notice subtle changes. He smiled more, he stood straighter, he began to speak with more conviction and take greater interest in public engagements. And Mary, she immersed herself in the complex web of Danish culture, history, and duty with grace and determination that stunned even the harshest critics. From the very beginning, Queen Mary didn't just accept her royal role, she redefined it. She learned Danish with impressive speed and fluency. She studied state affairs, developed her own charitable initiatives, and eventually built the Mary Foundation, focusing on mental health, domestic violence, and social isolation. Her work was never ornamental, it was impactful, and over time, it came to overshadow the charitable work of many born royals across Europe. As Mary soared in public popularity, Frederik's image seemed to catch up with hers. It's no coincidence that during joint appearances, the press consistently praised his demeanor, appearance, and poise, often attributing his improved public performance to Mary's calming, grounding presence. Royal watchers began to speculate that Queen Mary had become his silent coach, helping him polish his speeches, strategize his engagements, and navigate the pressures of public life with poise. Even in times of royal turbulence, when scrutiny intensified or rumors stirred about Frederik's personal life, Mary stood firm, dignified and composed, never stepping out of line, never granting the tabloids an inch. And it worked. Instead of fracturing under pressure, the royal couple emerged stronger, often celebrated as a modern monarchical model for partnership, emotional intelligence, and progressive thinking. Yet behind the fairy tale veil, palace insiders hint at a far more complex dynamic. Mary is not just a queen consort, they say. She is a queenmaker. Her influence reportedly stretches deep into the royal court, touching decisions about the monarchy's image, philanthropic direction, and even court appointments. Some sources close to the royal press corps say that King Frederik's reign is, in some ways, co-piloted by Mary's strategic mind and intuitive grasp of diplomacy. But here's where it gets even more compelling. Despite her overwhelming popularity and power behind the scenes, Mary never outshines her husband. She elevates him. She doesn't command the spotlight, she shares it. That, royal analysts argue, is the true genius of Queen Mary. She has found a way to strengthen the monarchy by strengthening her husband's image, often stepping back just enough for him to shine, but always staying close enough to guide. This careful balancing act has resulted in one of Europe's most admired royal couples. Yet critics occasionally raise their eyebrows. Is Frederick truly the admired king the people see, or has his public image been meticulously sculpted by his brilliant wife? Some tabloids have gone further, pointing out that the royal narrative often sounds like Mary's triumph cloaked in Frederick's robes. And still, the people love them. Public opinion polls consistently rank both Frederick and Mary among the most trusted and loved royals in Europe, with Mary often slightly ahead. That gap, analysts suggest, says everything. In recent years, especially after Queen Margrethe's abdication, Frederick's reign began with high expectations. But once again, it was Queen Mary who stole headlines, not with pomp, but with presence. Her effortless elegance, her unwavering focus on meaningful causes, and her diplomatic brilliance were on full display during state visits and palace receptions. She was more than prepared to be queen, some said. In fact, she had been acting like one long before the crown officially touched her head. Now, as King Frederik settles into his role as Denmark's monarch, his reign is often measured through Mary's impact. His decisions, his tone, even his fashion choices are often attributed to Mary's refined influence. Far from being a silent partner, she's become a symbol of stability and excellence, a pillar of modern royalty in a time when monarchies are under increasing scrutiny worldwide. Their partnership stands as both a love story and a case study in power dynamics, personal transformation, and public trust. It reveals how deeply a strong, intelligent partner can change the course of a nation's perception of its king. King Frederik X may wear the crown, but Queen Mary, many believe, is the reason it fits so well. As this royal chapter unfolds, one thing is clear: the monarchy in Denmark has been redefined by a woman who once stood in the crowd as a commoner and now stands beside a king, not just as his wife, but as his greatest strength. So now, the question that lingers in the minds of royal watchers and citizens alike is this: in the eyes of the world, is it truly King Frederik who has earned their love, or has Queen Mary masterfully built the reputation that now shields and supports the man who wears the crown? If you found this deep dive fascinating, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive royal insights.